This is my review of Travis Scott's new album, Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. So, this album, let's actually talk about it. I'm having some mixed feelings on this album, but I'll get to that later. When I first started paying attention to this album, I was thinking oh sweet, new Travis Scott album. I like Days Before Rodeo, I like Rodeo. I'll probably like this. I wonder when that's coming out. That was in February, January. So, yeah, I wasn't that excited for it back then, but days go on, months, weeks, all these release dates keep coming and passing, all these leaked tracks keep coming out, and I'm just where's the album, Travis? I was waiting so long for this to come out, and now it's September. I think right now it is the 15th of September, so this is 2 weeks after the album actually came out, so that's pretty late. But I mean, I've got to listen to it a few times to really get the feel of it. But yeah, now it is September, not April, not June, not July, not August. It is September, the end of summer. Summer's gone. You don't see all these people filling up downtown streets. You don't see 20 million boats out on the bay, people just getting hammered all day long, getting a tan on, going to the beach, doing crazy stuff. That's all winding down right now. Nobody feels so confident in themselves anymore that they're just gonna go outside every day and make today the best of it. Cause summer's over, it's not that warm out, it's not sunny out, people have to go back to school. So why didn't this album drop during that time when everyone's having a blast, everyone's doing whatever they want, they feel on top of the world, they don't want time to pass? Why wouldn't you release this album when everyone's feeling that? Instead, you decide to release this album at the start of September? The end of summer? I mean, don't you think that people would want to bump this album in their cars, out on a boat again, just at home at a party with friends? It's summer, you want some summer vibes, but no, it's September now. But is that a bad thing? I'm really not sure, because this album doesn't really have the feel of a summer upbeat progressive album like something by Kendrick or Lil Yachty or Drake or Kanye even. It doesn't have that feel good persona to it. It's something a lot darker, I like to say. I'm not saying it's fucked up. It's not. That's not how music is. It's just darker. Alright, well, getting off track here. But the mood that this album gives off is nothing like summer, nothing at all. Right when I saw the album art, I mean, I'll pull it up right here. It's not, it's not a summery thing. He's got these dark wings. You can barely see his eyes. You can barely see what he's wearing or what he's doing. I think he's in a chair, but not a summery type feel to the album cover. So when I see that, not moments, but I think maybe days before the album actually came out, I'm thinking, alright, I think I know what to expect with this album. Something slower, something maybe more personal, something different than what's been coming out a lot lately. Most albums like Drake's or tempted to say Kanye, but not really, because I can't think of any songs that he would put out there. Even Kendrick is kind of falling victim to this new craze of your album's got to mean something. It's, society's changing. You've got to change with it. You've got to show progression. You've got to have a meaning behind your new album. It's got to be something new. And that's really like the Achilles heel of all these artists right now, is that they're trying so hard to be something new that they're being the same as everyone else. They have some mediocre songs that are thrown together with a couple minute-long skits or interludes halfway through the album that nobody listens to. Everyone skips them. They're always stupid. Like, there's no reason to waste your time on any of these skits on albums. Like Tory Lane's new album, there's like 25 tracks, but like at least 10 of them are just skits. Nobody wants to listen to that. People want to listen to music, not skits. So when all these artists just do that and throw in a couple commercial-friendly, radio-friendly songs that have no swear words and are extremely basic feeling and just have like a, you're trying to set off like a good feeling to make everyone want to listen to it and everyone want to buy your album or whatever. It's nice to know that, some people aren't falling into this trap that just really makes their longtime fans just want to like back off because it's not impressive anymore. It's not what they came to like the actual artist for, because they're just getting so engulfed in fame. But I've been talking about that for way too long, so I'll talk about the actual album now. And that being said, I don't really think this album is 100% different in how I was just talking about how albums have been lately. But I feel like it's definitely a step in the right direction for people that, it doesn't have to be something ridiculous, something awe-inspiring, something that's going to win an award to be good, to have people appreciate it. And I mean, I appreciate this album. It's obviously not an album that's catered to everybody. Like, there are some songs on this that even I don't like, and I hyped this album up so hard and was so excited for it that you would think that I would just fall in love with every song and just listen to it all day, which I kind of have been, but not to like a ridiculous extent that I'm not realizing the pros and cons of this album. So, starting off, it's really the song called The Ends. It has like that intro-y feel that's like building up, and it's like, this is my album, it's gonna be great. But then the beat changes and it goes back to Travis rapping, and it just feels good. It feels like it fits. It feels like it's not trying too hard, and it's just, I don't want to feel in the end. You can't like go wrong with that. Like you can't just act like that's not. It doesn't fit well. It doesn't just sound good. It's such a great introduction to this album, to this story that really nobody outside of Travis's friends and people working on the album really knew about until this album officially came out, because it wasn't really, not much was given out. You didn't know the album art until days before. You didn't know the track list until days before. There wasn't really that many leaks. Most of the songs that leaked weren't on the album. Like, I think Loose and Coordinate, I think those were the only two that really got leaked. And then, of course, Pick Up the Phone and Wonderful were either a single or put on Apple Music Connect and SoundCloud earlier. So you really, other outside of like 4 songs, you really didn't know what to expect with this album, and so that's why I think it was a lot easier going into it, making a decision of if I like it or not, because I don't know what it is. So I can like freshly discover it the first time I'm listening to the album. I'm not like, oh, I've heard this song. Oh, I've heard this song. These are the best songs on the album because they're singles. The rest of the album isn't that great. Why? It's not like that with this album because for some reason Travis actually did the smart thing and like kept this album under wraps until it was ready to be unwrapped. So along with that, there are some parts of this album that I don't really like how I was saying. You know, the ends is a great song, really nice shift into Andre 3000's verse that I didn't really expect since none of the features are listed on the album and they weren't talked about until really I think Kendrick and maybe Bryson Tiller were talked about as being on the album before the songs were released. So yeah, Andre's verse was a complete surprise to me. I wasn't really sure if it was him at first because it just seemed like kind of a weird place to be for him, but I could after like a few words I could tell that it was him because it's Andre's voice. You can pretty much recognize that from anywhere. So that kind of adds on to like the mystery of this album is that you don't know, first time listening through it, you don't know who's featured, you don't know what to expect on a song because you don't know who Travis is building it around because what he usually does is he'll sing the hook and then he'll have his feature go first. They'll have the first verse and then he'll put in his and try to like show up everyone and say, all right, this is my album, this is my track. There's your feature, but remember who this song was made by. But he didn't really do that a whole lot. This album, sorry, the recording ended, so it might look a little weird. But yeah, he didn't really do that a whole lot on this album. So it makes you feel like he's not as confident. But then you hear his verses and you can tell that it's still him. But this album really it shines because it's just Travis being himself, real like actually being himself, not like what other artists do where they say, "Oh yeah, this is the real me. This is what I stand for. This is what I'm about." It's like actually Travis like saying what he wants, doing what he wants, kind of how he lives his life, just not really trying to change himself for anyone else or act a certain way so the media will like him or fans will like him. So I get that that might explain some of the kind of lousy songs on this album, like Through the Late Night and SDP Interlude, and Goosebumps isn't that good. And you kind of notice a trend on this album that the songs that aren't that good, like Outside, Goosebumps, Through the Late Night, the reason they're not good is because they have these features on them. Like the the utter stupid rambling that Kid Cudi has on Through the Late Night. I don't. It's like no, no, no. Like why, why? Like, do you think people enjoy listening to you moan because you had a few good albums in the